Welcome to Bay, where talented District 4 Toastmasters from San Francisco to the city of Monterey come to share their ideas to the world. I am your host, Mikhail Yerzy. Wherever you are joining us from, you are joining us at the right time because now is your time to share in this experience with us. And today you are in for a treat. Normally we have speakers from the Silicon Valley, San Francisco, and the Salinas Valley, as well as Monterey, who come to share their ideas. But today you're going to hear an exclusive group of speakers and evaluators from Monterey, giving you a hint of what is to come at the fall conference in November 2014. Also, our speakers and evaluators have all competed at some level, and you will hear today those who have risen to the level of champion at the District 4 level. Clear communication. It's what separates the influencers and persuaders of society from the rest of us who wish they had what they wanted. And what makes Toastmasters unique is that we use a proven system that ensures that anyone can develop the skills of effective communication. And get this, everyone is given a safe platform to articulate their message. Today, you're going to hear from speakers who have learned how to clearly articulate their communication. Our first speaker is speaking from project number 7 of the Competent Communicator Manual, where his objectives are to choose a subject of interest, requiring much research, to collect information from numerous resources, and to carefully support points and opinions with specific facts, examples, and illustrations. Our speaker is the president of Bayview Club in Monterey and also a member of Oratory Otters in Seaside, California. He is an electrical engineer with 12 years of sales experience and president of Nacon Group, a company that specializes in providing business development services for highly engineered software and hardware. He is the winner of Bayview's humorous evaluation speech contest. And today he will address the relationship between Netflix and Comcast and how we might be affected. The title of his speech is, Does the Netflix deal with Comcast spell the end for net neutrality? Please welcome to the stage, Rene Gamero.
Thank you, Mikhail. I wish I could have seen the look on my face when I read the headline saying that Netflix and Comcast had entered into a deal to improve their video feeds into Comcast subscribers' homes. I thought, are we just dropping the whole net neutrality thing now? Are we okay with this? I almost felt I was alone in my office, but I felt like looking around to see if anyone else was reading this headline. I was beside myself. I turned that passion into research for my talk today. And what I'm going to talk to you about today, 3 things. First, what is net neutrality? What is open internet? How does the FCC view it? 2, I'm going to give you the details of what that Comcast Netflix deal were. And 3, we're going to see how it compares to the 3 points for the FCC open internet definition. FCC states that the open internet, net neutrality, is comprised of 3 principles. The first principle is that there is full transparency, meaning that my broadband provider, Comcast in this case, should provide me with data on how the network is functioning, whether it's congested or not. That one's pretty easy. 2 and 3, they get progressively tougher. 2, that they will not block any legal content. So any content that's out on the internet, I have access to. And lastly, and this is the toughest one, I will not give, the broadband providers will not give any preferential treatment to data. For example, Comcast owns NBC Universal. They don't want full internet for that and limit it for Netflix that might be providing similar services. So that's a definition for what open internet is for the FCC. Now, what are the details of the Comcast and Netflix deal? We're in Silicon Valley, and Netflix actually has been storing a good percentage of their movies at a server right down here in San Jose. SV1/SV5 is what they call it. It's a server room owned and operated by Equinix. Equinix is a company that provides 2 services, co-location storage services and interconnection services. What that means is if I'm a carrier and I have content, I can go to this server and I can interconnect with all other Equinix servers. On the website gigaohm.com, it was discovered on February 22nd, 2 days before the Comcast and a Netflix merger, Netflix deal, that transmission speeds were actually being increased through interconnection, possible peer-to-peer test. Well, sure enough, 2 days later, February 24th, is when the Comcast deal is reached. So the movies have been sitting there. The Comcast interconnection point has been there. And it's only after that agreement that that communication was allowed to happen. So does it violate net neutrality? No, it does not, because nothing's being blocked. They still had access to the information in a sort of roundabout way. They weren't giving preferential treatment, throttling, hard to prove, but there was no direct interference with what you would call open communication or the open internet. So where does that leave us? What options does that give us? Originally, peering, or what they call peering, was not a part of the open internet. So it's not affecting it now. However, now 2 directors of the FCC, the most recent, Tom Wheeler, issued a press release on June 23rd of this year saying that due to not only the deal between Comcast and Netflix, but also due to a future deal with Netflix and Verizon, that they would be looking into peering. And in it, he actually quotes one of the users who pointed out, whose comments were 4 questions. Who's paying for this? This doesn't seem right. Can you please explain this to me? Pretty simple questions. So although, for now, even though the open internet is not part of this peering structure, possibly will be in the future. One interesting point is, for the 3 principles that the FCC is requesting, the first is already done. The District Court of Appeals has upheld that, and transparency is under FCC jurisdiction. However, the other 2, and the U.S. District Court of Appeals actually stated why they weren't upheld, was because of how they were classified. They weren't classified as Tier 2 common carriers. And because of that, and only because of that, was the reason the District Court of Appeals wouldn't allow it to stand. So, having said that, I encourage you to go to FCC website and provide your comments, because this is an ever evolutionizing regulation that we should all contribute our opinion to. Mikhail.
Excellent insight to what's going on in the world. I have no idea as to what the internet is about, and so I'm thankful to be able to hear some of what's going on.
Oh, great.
How is this going to really affect us in the long term?
You don't know. It's just moving so fast. Communication is just moving so much faster than legislation.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting us know. Excellent speech. Thanks, Rene.
Thank you, Mikhail.
All right. What distinguishes Toastmasters is that each speaker, after giving a speech, receives immediate and constructive feedback that focuses on the objectives of the speech. Giving an evaluation is also an excellent opportunity to develop one's clear communication skills. Evaluating Rene, also from Bayview Toastmasters, is Patras Bukhari. Please welcome to the stage Patras.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters. Rene, wonderful speech. When you came here, you grabbed the attention of the audience. You made eye contact. You were very genuine. You were not nervous. You were confident. You were going to give your speech that was research-based. And through your confidence and the information which you provided, that indicated, yes, you were prepared and you did a lot of research. Especially, you mentioned what you are going to tell, and then you told and then at the end you told us what you told. Now you gave 3 points. What is net neutrality? And then you said you are going to provide the details, and then you said how it is compared, and then you mentioned 3 principles: well prepared and well laid out speech. I would like to make few suggestions. I was lost in the details. Gaga.com and Verizon, different networks you were talking about, and what connection has one network to the other, that I was lost. If you had come up with some diagrams and some numbers and some names, that would have helped me to pay very close attention and not lost in the details. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Patras. Good evaluation. Thank you. Okay, well, it may seem that polished public speakers have always had a knack for clear communication. In this next segment, Lance Miller, 2005 World Champion of Public Speaking, offers insight as to how Toastmasters can play a significant role in helping a person develop their public speaking skills. Enjoy this next segment.
World champion in public speaking with Toastmasters International. When I won my world championship speech, it was on the concept of validating what's right and good in people. And look, we're all human. We're inherently flawed. We're imperfect. It doesn't take any special skill or talent to find an imperfection in another person. Can you find what's good in them and bring that out? Some of the toughest times we have in our life give us the most important lessons that we can carry forward, but we can't carry it forward as baggage. We have to carry it forward as a lesson. And by communicating it and refining it and sharing it with others, we lose the baggage, we gain the lesson. The process of going through Toastmasters helped me find the value in my life. And it wasn't until then that I was really able to see the value in other people and the experiences that they had. And there are so many incredible, inspirational moments on a day-to-day basis that are sitting right in front of us, but most of us don't even see them. We're so preoccupied with our problems or where we're trying to go. We're not looking at the value and the beauty of what's happening right in front of us. And that's one of the big shifts I had by looking for speech topics and being in Toastmasters, was appreciating the moment and the lesson of the moment that I could then refine and bring to other people. If you're communicating, you're leading. People are going to listen to you. It's going to affect their life either on a positive or negative basis, and it's going to give some direction to it. And there's a responsibility that comes with that. And it's the ability to stand there and be able to touch the heart and change the mind and make a better world. I mean, if you're going to go learn tennis or golf, you can go out and practice that, and then you're going to play a tournament, you want to make sure that your skills are honed up for the tournament. But there's the tournament of life that we get up every morning and walk out the front door to go do. When do we get an opportunity to practice those skills so that we can continue to excel, but we don't make the mistakes in the tournament, which is on the job, in the community? Toastmasters gives us that environment where we work on our leadership skills, we work on our communication skills, we make mistakes, we screw up, we fail, we find our weaknesses, we strengthen those weaknesses, we identify our strengths, we know they're our strengths, so when we go out in the world, we can actually lead and speak. I'd always had a passion for speaking, but I never really knew if I was doing it right or not. And when I came into Toastmasters, I saw the component parts of how all these things work. And with that, as I started to learn those, it started to affect other areas of my life in a very positive and dramatic way. And so I have found Toastmasters just to be a great organization and a great program to continually develop your communication and leadership skills so that you have those skills honed when you go out in life to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish.
Welcome back. In this second portion, we're going to follow the same as the first, where we have a speaker and evaluator. Our second speaker is giving his Project 3 speech from the Competent Communicator Manual, which is get to the point. His objectives are to articulate the purposes of his topic in such a way as to organize the speech in a manner that best achieves that purpose, and also to ensure that the beginning, the body, and the conclusion reinforce those purposes, and to project sincerity and conviction. Now, our speaker is a member of the NPS Toastmasters, Bayview Toastmasters, and Peninsula Pros. He is the 2011 District 4 International Speech Contest champion, and he is an expert in interpersonal communications, teaching workshops, classes, and seminars for the last 3 years. And I must say, he is a happily married man, so he's very qualified for what he's going to speak on. Today, our speaker will show us that there is more to clear communication than just talking. Giving a speech titled, Listening, would you please welcome to the stage, Arnie Buss.
So there I was, relaxing in my lazy boy, ice cold beer in one hand, nice warm nachos in the other, the game on TV. My wife comes in, smiles at me sweetly, and says, "Why don't we put thumb screws on you and twist them until you scream with pain, and then get a red-hot poker and then apply it to your skin?" I believe her exact words were, "Honey, we need to talk." Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, listening is all about understanding where the other person is coming from. And today, I'm going to give you 3 tips about how this could not happen to you anymore. First, I'm going to talk about how we can listen to the other person. I'm going to give you some ideas about how not to listen to the other person. And finally, I'm going to show you how to decode the hidden messages. So first, be mindful in listening. The problem is we're often not mindful in listening. Has this ever happened to you? The other person says, "You're not listening to me." You could almost follow the other from a script. And it goes like this. "You're not listening to me." "I was too listening to you." "Then what did I say?" And then you tell them exactly what they said, word for word, and they are happy. Never happened. Why is this? Because we are not practicing mindful listening. Listening is not in the words, it is in the feelings and the unspoken messages behind the words. So we need to understand what those hidden messages are. Now, here are some things not to say. We do not want to invalidate what the other person is saying and feeling. We don't want to say, "You're wrong." If you ever say you're wrong, you're wrong. Never say, "You shouldn't feel that way," because feelings are neither right nor wrong. They simply are. Be invisible to the other person, but engaged mindfully. When we do that, it makes the other person feel heard. So do not say, "I understand." Show that you understand. So practice mindful listening. Avoid statements that interfere with communication and invalidate the other person. And finally, decode the hidden message. Because the reason why that other person was not happy when you repeated back word for word was that the hidden message is much more than in the words. The hidden message is in why they're saying what they're saying. The hidden message is what are the feelings behind what they're saying. And finally, the hidden message is what they want. So validate why they're saying it. Validate what their feelings are. Don't project yours onto theirs. And finally, let them know that you get what they want, instead of saying that you understand. So when they say, you're not listening to me, instead of saying, yes, I was, say, so there's something that you want to have understood, and you haven't heard it understood yet. You want to be assured that what you're saying is accepted, validated, and heard. That will get a yes. And so, if you practice mindful listening, not just to the words, to the hidden message, avoid the destructive responses that invalidate the other person, and decode that hidden message, then the next time that you hear those 5 dreadful words, honey, we need to talk, you can confidently say, darling, I'm listening. Mr. Toastmaster.
Awesome work, Arnie. Please stay here. Wow, some excellent insight as to how to communicate with anybody, really, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a man-woman thing. It's really with everybody.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this listening skill is because it works with everybody. I have applied it both in my relationships and my personal relationships, as well as my professional ones.
Yes. And I could see how it wasn't just a matter of taking a diminishing role, although staying humble is important, but really letting the other person know that you are open to listening to them. Even if you hadn't been listening, you still are giving them your ear, and you express that. I really like that insight that you gave us.
Yeah. Yes, it's really a full body experience. I think what causes people to feel that they're really not being heard is when you're kind of mentally tapping your foot, waiting for them to stop talking so I can say what I want to say or get back to my game.
Right. Well, tell us a little bit about Toastmasters. Describe how articulate you were in your first speech compared to your present speech. I mean, you've really come a long ways.
I absolutely have. I have been teaching for a long time, so I thought, piece of cake. Well, Toastmasters was a very, very different experience, as I discovered in my icebreaker speech when I found my heart pounding out of my chest, and I found I couldn't quite get my words out, and my throat was so dry, it was excruciating.
It must have been. It must have been. Well, tell us, and everybody out there viewing us, why they would want to be at the Monterey District Fall Conference coming up in November 8th.
The district conference, when we have the district conference in Monterey, it is outstanding. Now, some Toastmasters may remember 4 years ago when we had a pirate-themed conference that they're still talking about. This year, the theme is Catch the Wave Surfing.
Sounds like fun. Thank you, Arnie. Evaluating Arnie is a very, how should I say, polished evaluator. He is a member of the Bayview Toastmasters and Oratory Otters in Seaside as well. And he loves to evaluate. In fact, he loves to evaluate so much that he hosts an evaluation podcast at theartofelvaluation.com. And then I mentioned that he loves to evaluate. This gentleman is a 3-time District 4 Evaluation Speech Contest champion. Evaluating Arnie, would you please give a warm welcome to the stage, Kristian Crump.
Thank you, Mikhail. Arnie, what a fabulous speech. Why can't you be with me on Friday nights when I'm driving around town figuring out where to go for dinner with my lovely lover? I need you in the back seat decoding exactly what she's saying because I'm frustrated and can't figure it out. Your 3 steps will help me when I get home tonight. Say to her, I'm listening. I'm going to talk about 3 areas where you excelled in this speech, and 3 areas, next time you give the speech, you'll ramp it up and send it out of the park. First was your opening. You had a great opening where you told us a beautiful story, you told us the 3 points you're going to talk about, and then you closed with the main 3 points again. Fabulous job giving the script of what takes place. Second was your pace. You had great pace. You were calm, you were confident, you moved, and then you spoke. It was very easy for us as an audience to follow you as you spoke and moved and spoke and moved. And third is your body presence. We can tell that you are an expert in listening Because not just with your ears, with your eyes and your whole body, you take in all the information. And that was apparent as a speaker. 3 areas where if we ramp this up, it'll be great. At the beginning, have a scene. Set us up. Have you ever been on a lazy boy with a remote and a beer, and then X, Y, and Z happens? And the great thing about setting that scene for us to see is at the end, you can bring us back to that picture of what it would be like when all is well with the remote, a beer, and your loved one. So bring the scene back in. Second is your body language. Relax just a little bit more. The tense was listening, might have been the nerves of the lights and the cameras and the action, but we just want to come up here and be relaxed. You're a professor, I know, in your professional life, and you have that professorial hand. We just want to relax that and move more body language. And the third one would be the ending. Bring it back to that scene for us. Let us know exactly what it's like. You had a fabulous verbal ending, but I want to see the scene. And that really sinks it in our mind because as an audience, we're learning not only by listening, but we're learning by hearing and learning by thinking our own pictures. We always ask ourselves and our audience, what's in it for me? And so the audience is continually thinking, what am I going to get from this speech? And how can I take this home? You did a fabulous job. I look forward to practicing this next Friday when I'm driving around town trying to figure out where to eat dinner. Mr. Toastmaster.
Very well, Kristian.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent evaluation. All right. Well, that concludes our show for today. Again, I just want to remind you that the District 4 Fall Conference is coming up, and it will be at Monterey at the Embassy Suites on Saturday, November 8th. For more information, you can go to www.d4tm.org. And also, if you have any questions, especially for you out there, if you have any questions about how do I get involved with Toastmasters, how do I take my communication to the next level, then I encourage you also to go to www.toastmasters.org. And again, d4tm.org. I am Yerzy. It has been a pleasure serving as your host. Everybody, so long and take care. Excellent work. That was good.